You probably love your cat more than anything in the world. Picture this. One day, you notice your once affectionate cat starting to slip away when you enter the room, spending more time tucked under the bed or in a corner, or suddenly grooming themselves so much that bald patches appear on their belly. At first, you think they're just being moody or independent, but deep down it feels off, like something's quietly breaking the bond you share. The truth is, many of us are unintentionally contributing to our cat's mental health struggles through everyday habits we never question. These small actions can slowly erode their sense of security, trigger chronic stress, and show up as subtle but clear indicators like hiding more, avoiding touch, excessive licking, or even sudden changes in appetite or litter box use that most owners overlook until the behavior becomes harder to ignore. In this video, we'll walk through 7 common ways you might be hurting your cat without realizing it, focusing on how these habits affect their emotional well-being and what simple shifts can make a real difference in rebuilding their trust and comfort. If this already resonates with what you're seeing at home, hit like and subscribe so we can keep sharing practical ways to help our cats feel truly safe and happy. Let's get into it. Let's start with one of the most common things we do without thinking twice: approaching or handling our cat suddenly when they're resting or focused on something else. Cats are incredibly sensitive to control over their personal space. When we reach down quickly to pet them, scoop them up, or even just walk straight toward them while they're relaxed, it can register in their brain as a potential threat. This isn't because they're ungrateful, it's rooted in their natural instincts. In the wild, sudden movements from above often meant danger from a predator. Even though your cat knows you're not a predator, that ancient wiring still triggers a spike in alertness and cortisol levels. Over repeated instances, this can teach them that being near people comes with unpredictable discomfort. You might notice this showing up in subtle ways. Your cat starts to duck their head slightly when you extend your hand, or they move away just a few steps every time you try to stroke them. Some cats will even freeze in place for a second before bolting, or their ears flatten briefly. These are early mental health indicators that the cat is experiencing low-level anxiety around physical contact. If ignored, it builds into a pattern where they become more withdrawn, less likely to seek affection, and overall less trusting in the relationship. The good news is, this is one of the easiest patterns to shift. Instead of initiating contact, make yourself available and let your cat choose the moment. Sit on the floor at their level, offer a slow blink, or extend a finger for them to sniff if they want, but don't reach out first. When they rub against your leg, lean in, or hop onto your lap on their own, that's the green light. Reward that choice with gentle, short pets along their preferred areas, usually the cheeks or chin, and stop before they show any sign of wanting to leave. Over a few weeks, most cats start approaching more often because they've learned that closeness feels safe and rewarding, not forced. Now, moving from how we approach them to where we place the things they need most. One frequent setup mistake happens with the litter box, food bowls, or scratching posts. We often tuck these essentials into a quiet corner, a bathroom, a laundry room, or behind furniture because we want to keep the living space tidy and out of sight. The issue is that cats feel extremely exposed whenever they need to eliminate, eat, or stretch in a vulnerable position. Their instincts tell them to stay alert for escape routes in case something approaches from behind or the sides. When the litter box sits in a dead-end spot with only one way in and out, or right next to a noisy appliance that suddenly turns on, the cat has to weigh the risk every single time they use it. That constant low-grade tension accumulates and shows up as mental discomfort. Common signs include your cat hesitating at the entrance of the box, stepping in and out repeatedly without settling, or eventually choosing other surfaces like rugs or bathtubs instead. You might also see them looking over their shoulder frequently while inside or rushing out faster than normal. These behaviors are clear indicators of unease tied to location, and they often lead to avoidance patterns that frustrate owners and create a cycle of stress. Fixing this is straightforward and usually brings quick improvement. Relocate the litter box to an open, low-traffic area where your cat can see the room around them and has at least 2 clear paths to walk away. Keep it away from loud machines, slamming doors, or high-activity zones. If space is limited, a corner with good visibility works better than a fully enclosed cabinet. Many cats return to consistent use within days once they feel secure during such a private moment. The same principle applies to food and water bowls. Place them in calm, visible spots rather than hidden nooks. Next, let's look at what goes into their bowl every day and how that choice quietly affects their overall sense of well-being. A very common routine is filling the bowl with dry kibble only, leaving it out all day for free feeding because it's convenient and seems sufficient. Cats evolved as obligate carnivores whose wild ancestors got nearly all their hydration from the moisture in prey. Dry food typically contains just 8 to 10% water, while their natural diet would provide 70 to 80%. When dry kibble is the primary or only source of nutrition, the cat ends up in a state of mild, ongoing dehydration. Their kidneys have to work harder to concentrate urine and flush out waste, and over months or years this strains the urinary system and can subtly influence mood and energy levels. You may start seeing indicators in small changes. Your cat drinks very little from the water bowl, even when it's fresh. Their urine appears darker or more concentrated in the litter box, or they show signs of lethargy, reduced playfulness, or occasional straining when urinating. Some cats develop more frequent urinary tract issues or crystals. But even before obvious symptoms, the low hydration often contributes to a general sense of discomfort that makes them seem less engaged or more irritable. Shifting this habit doesn't require a complete overhaul. Start by introducing wet food at least once a day, either as a meal or mixed with their dry kibble. Canned or pouch foods with high moisture content help rehydrate them naturally and are usually more appealing in flavor and texture. If your cat is picky, try warming the wet food slightly or offering it in small portions alongside the dry to encourage gradual acceptance. Adding a pet water fountain can also help encourage drinking, but the biggest impact comes from increasing dietary moisture directly. Within a few weeks, many owners notice their cat seems brighter, more active, and less prone to subtle stress signals tied to physical unease. From there, we can move on to how playtime itself might be sending mixed messages to your cat. Many owners enjoy interactive play by wiggling fingers, dangling hands, or letting their cat pounce on arms and feet because it looks fun and the cat seems excited in the moment. The problem arises because cats don't distinguish between play object and body part the way we do. When hands or feet become the primary target during rough play, the brain links human skin with hunting prey. Kittens especially learn quickly through repetition, and what starts as gentle nibbling can escalate into harder bites or swipes as they grow. This isn't aggression, it's simply following the rules of the game we unintentionally taught them. Over time, it creates confusion around boundaries and can make everyday interactions feel risky for both cat and owner. Early indicators often appear during or right after play sessions. Your cat stalks your moving hand even when you're not trying to engage, lunges unexpectedly at ankles while walking, or delivers quick bites followed by retreating. You might notice dilated pupils, twitching tail tips, or ears flicking back during these moments, signaling overstimulation mixed with hunting drive. If the pattern continues, it can lead to frustration when play stops abruptly, causing the cat to seek outlets in less desirable ways, like attacking feet at night or becoming more unpredictable around hands. Redirecting this is simple and effective with the right tools. Switch entirely to wand toys, feather teasers, laser pointers, or string pull toys that keep your hands and feet at a safe distance. Move the toy in erratic patterns to mimic prey, let the cat catch it occasionally for satisfaction, and end sessions on a high note before they get too wound up. Praise calm behavior with treats or calm voice when they disengage from the toy without redirecting to your body. Most cats adapt within a couple of weeks, and the play becomes more enjoyable because it's clear, safe, and species appropriate. With play sorted, the next area to consider is how stimulating or barren the rest of their environment feels on a daily basis. Many homes keep things neat and minimal. A clean floor, one scratching post, a single window perch, and perhaps a few toys scattered around. We assume quiet and order equals calm for a cat. In reality, cats thrive on variety and novelty because their brains are wired for constant sensory input. Without regular changes in sights, sounds, textures, heights, or hiding spots, they quickly run out of mental tasks. This leads to understimulation, which manifests as chronic boredom. Boredom in cats isn't peaceful. It quietly builds frustration and anxiety, similar to how a person might feel stuck in an unchanging routine. You can spot the indicators fairly easily once you know what to watch for. Your cat spends long periods staring blankly at walls, repeats the same short patrol route around the house without purpose, or starts over grooming specific spots until the fur thins out. Other signs include sudden bursts of zooming around the room at odd hours, vocalizing more than usual when alone, or showing less interest in food or play even when offered. These are mental health red flags that the environment isn't providing enough outlets for natural curiosity and energy. Improving this doesn't mean turning your home into a jungle gym overnight. Begin with small, rotating additions. Place cardboard boxes or paper bags in different spots for a week, then swap them out. Install affordable wall shelves or a tall cat tree for vertical exploration. Open a window with a bird feeder outside for visual entertainment, or introduce puzzle feeders that make meals a problem-solving activity. Rotate toys every few days so old ones feel fresh again, and consider soft background sounds like gentle rain or birdsong when you're away. Even these modest changes give the brain something new to process daily. Within a short time, most cats appear more relaxed, engage more actively with their space, and display fewer stress-related habits. That brings us to one of the most overlooked factors: how often we miss or dismiss the early signals our cat is already sending about their emotional state. It's easy to brush off small changes when life gets busy. Maybe your cat used to greet you at the door but now stays curled up in another room, or they no longer jump onto the couch beside you during evening TV time. We tell ourselves they're just getting older, more independent, or having an off day, and we carry on without digging deeper. These subtle shifts are often the first whispers of emotional discomfort. Cats are masters at hiding pain or unease because showing vulnerability could have been dangerous in their evolutionary past. By the time obvious problems like constant hiding, refusing food, or aggressive outbursts appear, the underlying stress has usually been building for weeks or months. Dismissing those quiet indicators means we lose the chance to intervene early, allowing mild anxiety to turn into deeper withdrawal or chronic tension that affects both their mental and physical health. Common early signals include a sudden preference for high perches where they can observe from a distance, reduced grooming leading to a slightly unkempt coat, changes in sleeping patterns such as napping in unusual spots, or a noticeable drop in vocalizations like purring or chirping during interactions. You might also see them pausing longer before entering familiar rooms, or reacting more strongly to everyday sounds. Recognizing these as communication rather than personality quirks is key. The most powerful response is to become an active observer starting today. Set aside 5 to 10 minutes each day to quietly watch your cat without trying to interact. Note their posture, tail position, ear direction, and how freely they move through the house. Keep a simple mental or written log for a week: what times they seem most relaxed, what triggers hesitation, how much they explore. Once patterns emerge, you can connect them back to the habits we've discussed and make targeted adjustments. Many owners find that simply paying closer attention and responding promptly rebuilds confidence faster than any single fix. Your cat isn't being difficult. They're trying to tell you something important. Now that we've covered the individual habits, let's tie it all together with one final common mistake that often amplifies everything else. A lot of us react instinctively when our cat does something we don't like: knocking over a glass, scratching furniture, jumping on counters, or meowing persistently at night. We raise our voice, say a sharp no, clap our hands, or even spray water to stop the behavior in the moment. Cats process these reactions very differently from how we intend. They don't link the scolding to the specific action they just did. Instead, they associate the sudden loud tone, quick movement, or startling sensation directly with you. Over time, this creates an underlying sense of unpredictability in your presence. What feels like discipline to us registers as random discomfort to them, eroding the foundation of safety they need to feel secure around people. The indicators build gradually and can be easy to misinterpret. Your cat starts flinching slightly when you move your arm near them, hesitates before approaching for food even when hungry, or positions themselves so they can keep you in sight without getting too close. You might notice flattened ears or a low tail when you speak loudly nearby, or they retreat to higher spots more often during times when you're active in the room. These are quiet signs of accumulated wariness that affect their emotional baseline, making them less likely to relax fully in shared spaces. Shifting away from punishment-based responses opens the door to much stronger connection. Replace sharp corrections with redirection and positive reinforcement. When you catch them in an unwanted behavior, calmly interrupt with a toy or treat to shift their focus. Then reward the desired alternative immediately, such as using a scratching post instead of the couch. For persistent issues, set up environmental preventions ahead of time. Double-sided tape on counters, stable vertical spaces for jumping, or scheduled play sessions to burn energy before nighttime. Consistency and patience are key. Most cats respond noticeably within a couple of weeks, as they learn that your presence predicts good things rather than startling interruptions. The relationship becomes calmer and more mutual because trust is rebuilt through predictable, gentle interactions. Now that we've covered the individual habits, let's tie it all together and bring this full circle. When we look back at these 7 everyday patterns, sudden approaches, hidden litter spots, dry food-only routines, hand-based play, unchanging environments, ignoring quiet signals, and reactive corrections, they don't exist in isolation. Each one feeds into the next, quietly chipping away at your cat's sense of emotional safety. The result is a slow-building cycle. Small discomforts turn into noticeable withdrawal. Withdrawal leads to more frustration, and frustration shows up as behaviors we then try to correct, which adds even more unpredictability. It's not about one big mistake. It's the accumulation of small, well-meaning choices that gradually shift the relationship from secure and affectionate to cautious and distant. The encouraging part is that this cycle can be reversed more quickly than most people expect. Cats are resilient when they feel consistently safe again. Start small and stay consistent. Observe your cat for a full week without changing anything else. Just note the indicators we've talked about, how freely they move, when they seek contact, where they choose to rest. Use those observations to pick 1 or 2 habits to adjust first, whether it's letting them initiate touch, moving the litter box to a more open spot, adding wet food, or swapping in new toys. Track the changes over the following weeks. You'll likely see your cat relax more, approach you with confidence, and return to behaviors that show they're comfortable in their own skin and in your home. Your cat isn't moody or aloof by nature. They're responding to the world we've created for them. By paying attention to those subtle mental health signals and making gentle, thoughtful adjustments, you give them the security they need to thrive emotionally as well as physically. The bond that comes from that kind of understanding is deeper and more rewarding than any forced affection ever could be. If any of this felt familiar or gave you a new way to look at your cat's behavior, please hit like to help this reach other owners who might need it, and subscribe if you'd like more practical tips on keeping our cats happy and healthy. Drop a comment below with one thing you're going to try this week. I read every one and love hearing how things improve for you and your cat. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of your furry friend.